We're gonna flip this because I think we have somebody in. Eileen, who is joining us online?
We've got Liz and Brian and Mandy.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome. Great. And then guests and visitors, Alyssa.
All right, we have two guests joining us today. You want to say welcome to them. I'm going to ask Jimmy if you could stand up, give us your full name, where you work, and your holiday trap or summertime travel plans.
Yeah, so my name is Jimmy Warren. I work for B.A.C.A in Rochester, actually. Summer travel plans. I know coming up here, we're going to go down to Florida.
Where?
Right by Tampa, down there. Should be a good time. Welcome. Thank you.
All right, and then we also have Rachel. This is her second meeting joining us. And if you could refresh us on what your full name is, where you work, and any summer travel plans.
My name is Rachel Christie. I work at Rotary University. I'm the program coordinator there. I work this session Thursday.
So if anyone is making announcements tonight, we just ask that you come up here so that people online can see you. And hear you. All right, we have a lot of July birthdays. Jeremy Moritz was on July 3rd. Brandon Harris was July 7th. Neil is tonight. Happy birthday, Neil.
Happy birthday, Neil.
Ryan's rival is July 17th. Phil is July 20th, and Spencer Hagenberg is July 25th. So. And then we have some RAH anniversaries. Larry Skensel, he's not here tonight, 48 years, which is quite extraordinary. He's been in Rotary, yep, for that long. So I think he's been in our club for maybe 4 years. 3 or 4. We have Mandy, who is joining us online, 11 years. She was one of our founding members. And then Lene and myself, 7 years. Caitlin Doyle, 3 years. Liz Filter is also 3 years.
What about you?
I said me.
Okay.
Just very quietly there. So congratulations. We're glad you joined. Just some membership updates. We are at 62 active members. 53 of those are active and then 9 are honorary. I know it's a little deceiving, or well, I should say it too. We had Margarita join our club. She is our newest member. And then we did have some Rotarians leaving us. I know that looks like a long list, but just to be transparent, at the end of the year, if we don't have members that have been showing up, we typically reach out and ask if they want to continue their membership with us or not. So that's why there's a longer list of people that have left the club. Josh is still going to stay on our board and try and join meetings as he can, but he wants to join the club out in Denver where he moved in January. All right, service announcements. Caitlin, sorry, as you take a bite.
So we're actually not going to do highway cleanup in July. We'll probably do that. No, that's my fault. In August or September. Irish Fest is the weekend of August 12th through 14th. I will send out a link and you can sign up directly with the Irish Fest group. On August 15th, it's a Monday, we're going to do the Trinity Lutheran Community block party. It sounds really fun. They're going to have music, food, drinks, games. And then I think we will specifically be helping kids try on shoes.
Try on sneakers.
Over 300 kids, which is going to be awesome. It sounds like a ton of fun. So that email just went out today. Sign up for that. It'll be a great event. Mobile meals we have at the end of September, and then October we have the annual Oktoberfest. So we still need to decide what shift we want to sign up for. I'm thinking maybe not the last shift of the night, like last time, but Brad, we will talk about James.
So our Irish Fest and Oktoberfest service opportunities that we get some money for when we do it.
I don't know about Irish Fest. Oktoberfest, yes,
Okay.
not Irish Fest.
And I think last year we raised money through different service events throughout the year, and that allowed us to do Adopt Family. Was that the Boys and Girls Club event?
Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
Yep.
So we did a couple
Yep.
events to give back to through us helping out the community. So those are definitely important to our club and further our impact while helping out other great causes. So thank you, Caitlin. All right, social announcements.
All right, so our logger social is on, 2 days in 5:30 to 10-ish, and we still have some spots left. So if you haven't signed up, I opened it up till tomorrow at noon. It's $35 for an adult, 15 for a child. I think we have 40 spots total. So if you're not coming, you should sign up. Like,
The weather's supposed to be beautiful.
yeah, so it's supposed to be nice. So I remember about that. And I think Brad was asking about how to get there and what we do. So do not go, if you're going, do not go in the main, like, entrance. You're gonna be on a special entrance on the, like, Copeland Avenue side. And we're gonna be in one of the, like, the little cabins way off yonder where you might get hit with some balls, like.
A home run.
Yeah,
That's
right?
way better.
So we're gonna be not in the big one that we usually have, because we haven't so many people, but we're gonna be in like a little smaller one, which is so fun. We still have other food coming to us, 3 beers. They don't really care what happens, but so do that. Otherwise, I have some more social information coming up for August and September once we secure a date. The mini masters thing I'm still trying to work on. So if anyone has a better way to contact Riverside Amusements, I would love to know how. We have 3 sides like stuff in this house. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Seth. Marissa, do you want to talk about the next 2 that are up here?
So I am super excited to report that the Rotary Mobile Medical Clinic is finally going to be rolling into town. And you are all invited to join us for the grand reveal on August 4th at Moon Tunes. It's going to be a great night. You will get a communication sent out to you, hopefully in the next few days, as soon as I get that invitation put up and sent out to all the area presidents. But for those of you that aren't aware of what the Rotary Mobile Medical Clinic is, this was a project that started back in 2020, I want to say. A lot of times we do global grants for countries or for places outside of the United States. At the time, Josh was our district foundation chair, and he said, why couldn't we do a global grant locally? There's a few things that you have to do with a global grant is you have to find an international partner to pony up at least a certain percentage of the project. In this case, it was about $18,000. So not, small chump change. And you have to apply for the grant. In this case, we had all the area Rotary clubs come together. There was a representative from each of the clubs. We narrowed it down. There were several projects proposed, and we narrowed it down to the mobile clinic for St. Clair's Health Mission. We got our international partner because of supply chain issues. It's been a little backlogged, but there are a few of us that are going to be driving to Cleveland at the end of July and driving it home, making a pit stop at the Rotary International headquarters in Evanston, Illinois, and then Madison and Janesville. So it's going to be really exciting. A lot of really good people, Rotarians, community members, financially supported this project, and it's a big deal. It's going to allow St. Clair's Health Mission to go out and do street medicine, to do farm medicine, to go to Arcadia and serve a population there, to serve the homeless, anybody that can't get to the brick and mortar location over by Market Street. They will be able to go out and serve that population. So I encourage you all to come to Moon Tunes on August 4th to see it. It's going to be a special night. Yeah, so save the date for that. And maybe we'll even get our own little area blocked off or something so that we can, celebrate together. Second one is Avenues of Service. And I said, we should probably put these out because we're gonna lose these awards in the near couple of weeks. These were from last year's Avenues of Service, and every year all the area Rotary clubs come together. This year it's at the Lacrosse Country Club on Tuesday, August 16th at 5:30. Look for the email to come out with the sign up. I don't remember the cost. I think it's about $35. But it's a night, I really love it because you see Rotarians from all the clubs, and that's where your connections are made, your doors are open, your network expands exponentially, and you really feel that impact of Rotary and what it can do for you. And we honor and recognize projects that clubs have done in the past year, and we recognize certain Rotarians that have been nominated by their clubs for Rotarian of the Year, for Rising Star, and then for Lifetime Achievement. So save the date for that, August 16th. It's a fun night. We put together a couple raffle baskets, and any questions with either of those? No. Okay. Hope to see you there.
Just two other save the dates. Pancakes and alpacas, maybe. Just kidding. Maybe don't save the date for any of these. Mini Master still is not confirmed either, but these were potential dates for both of the events. So more information coming soon. Sorry, I should have double checked. All right. This is all of the upcoming committee meetings that we have in Rotary. We really encourage our members to get involved if you're not already. So I wanted to include these. We'll have kind of updates throughout the next few meetings from different committees, but these are the upcoming meeting dates and times, and some of them still are working on it, but there's contact people there. So if you want to reach out, feel free. I forgot ugly sweater. What? Yeah.
I'll be leading the ugly sweater committee meetings. If you're somewhat new, it's the Ugly Sweater 5K. It happens near Christmas time at the beginning of December. It's the club's biggest fundraiser of the year. We've met once and we'll be meeting again in about 3 weeks. I have the old membership list, and I don't know if everybody on the old membership list is still interested. And I'm sure there are new members that are interested that I'm sorry I didn't go out to you. But I think what I'll do is I'll email the whole club and just ask if you're interested in joining the committee. Let me know, and I'll send out a little survey when you're available. We'll do a meeting in about 3 weeks.
Good. Thank you, James. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
So one other announcement that I'm going to have Laura give a little youth exchange update. Sorry.
Sorry, I gotta pass the baby off. Okay, so I am here to do an announcement about youth exchange. So a lot of the members of the club are familiar that we have done youth exchange since the 2015, 2016 year. So even though that seems like a lot longer far away, we've only had 4 students. So Eugene, Clara, Hagen, and Mickey. Not in that order, I mixed that up, but this year we have a new student coming sometime in August. We don't know the arrival date at this point, but her name is Mari, and she is from Tokyo, and she's 17 years old. We had a brief get to know Mari session a couple of weeks ago now. It was interesting. Definitely going to be some language working through that we have to do. So we'll be fine. We'll get there. She'll pick up the language just fine.
She's very upset with this presentation.
So you can just bring him up here too. He's fine. Okay, so what we need help on is background checks and working with Mari while she's here. So Rotary's policy is that if you are one-on-one with a student and you are over the age of 18, you are required to have a background check. So while we do our best to plan that Brad and James are going to hang out with Mari, if Brad has an issue that comes up and James has to be on his own, he needs to have a background check completed. So
our club pays for those background checks, so there's really no hindrance to you completing them. They take about 5 minutes to do, and we take care of all of the other parts. So Ashley's gonna send out a link as to where you request a background check and how that goes through the district. So please do not hesitate to fill out a background check. They do take a couple weeks to process. So we'd rather have you fill one out and not need it. I think they're $7 a piece, so it's totally worth it, just so that we've got everybody covered and we don't break any of Rotary's rules. So while Mari is here with us, she has a YEO, which is Lisa. Lisa is legally responsible for Mari, basically is responsible for getting her enrolled in school, making sure she has insurance, taking care of all financial things of that sort. So Lisa gets the pseudo legal responsible adult responsibilities. Me, Brianna, and Phil get the fun responsibilities of being the YEC and getting to connect with Mari on a monthly basis throughout her exchange. So Larry and Missy are going to be her first host family. And then Danny and Eric are going to be her second host family, and we are still nailing down details on the third. So she'll live with Missy and Larry from like August to the beginning of December, and then December to March-ish, she'll live with Danny and Eric, and then March-ish to July-ish, she'll live with the third host family. So that's kind of how that goes. And then one new requirement that came up because of the pandemic is that we are required to have an emergency host family. Basically, that host family just has to go through I think it's a smaller background check, like interview process to ensure that if something happens to a host family that is currently hosting a student, COVID related, anything related where that student has to be removed from that host family, we need an emergency family to be available. That person doesn't commit to a certain amount of time, we would obviously do our best to get them back with the original host family unless there are extenuating circumstances. But if you are interested in being listed as our emergency host family, please let me or Lisa know, and we can definitely work through those steps and make sure that we have everything checked off. So really, there's no commitment besides being a maybe person for that kid if they need assistance.
Does it have to be a Rotarian, or can it be?
It can be anybody. It can be anybody. So if you're not specifically interested, but you know somebody who maybe has hosted in the past or might be a good fit for somebody just to be on call, feel free to send them our way. And then Ashley is our youth protection officer, and she makes sure that we don't break the rules, hence why she asked me to do the presentation tonight so that we get those background checks put into place. We'll also be doing a little bit more detailed overview of what some of these rules are, including overview of the crisis management plan, which is a pandemic related 26-page document that our district leaders came up with to kind of go over all sorts of potential situations that could happen, most of which will likely not, except for the one section related to COVID. So that was really the reason why we had to create it, but it now exists and it is monitored from the district level at this point. So while Mari is here, she has already expressed interest in playing tennis. So Lisa is working to get her on the tennis team at Central, which is where she'll be going. I don't know how to play tennis, so if anybody in the club knows how to play tennis and wants to work with her on that, that'd be awesome. But in addition to the activities that she has identified preemptive to her arrival, we'll take time to meet with her after she gets here and figure out what does she want to do when she's here. During our conversation, it was very much, I am interested in all the activities. So we're going to have to narrow that down just a little bit to make sure that we can ensure that we're accommodating what her needs are. There's district level activities that she'll have to participate in. But I know with Mickey, we did a lot of meet and eats. He likes to eat food. I don't know if Mari will be on the same level of food eating as what Mickey was, but taking her out to dinner, taking her to a movie, taking her shopping, taking her to a family function, just so that she could see maybe how families get together in our area. Anything is better than nothing. So the one thing that we want to do is make sure that we're getting her to all sorts of different experiences. I remember Josh took Eugene to a farm, which was very interesting. And it's just things that I'm sure in Tokyo, she doesn't get to experience. So think about the things that we do here that she would not get to see in Tokyo. So as she gets closer to arrival, we'll post more information about when she'll actually be here and then what types of things she's maybe interested in doing. And then as I'm her first YEC, so as I start connecting with her, I'll start reaching out to ask about other connections and meeting with her as well. So Are there any questions about Mari and her arrival? One other fun fact, Clara will be in the area in August, and I'm working on figuring out if she can come to our August 9th meeting. Apparently a friend of hers from Brazil, I think is where she is, or maybe Argentina, wherever she is now, somebody's coming to Ohio for a Frisbee competition.
She does.
So Meg said it was her friend.
I thought Clara said she might be.
Maybe she's playing it, maybe she's in the competition too, but she is planning on coming back to the area to visit host family. So I reached out to her and, you know, just mentioned if she wanted to come to our meeting that night, that would be fantastic. Stay tuned. I'll keep bothering her, but I don't want to, you know, overtake her schedule or anything like that. So the 8th and the 9th is when she's expecting to be in the area as of her current schedule. So that'd be fun to see her again. All right, that's all. I'll harass you at a later time for additional background checks, and Ashley and I will keep up. They're good for 1 calendar year.
Okay.
So every single year we get a new student, and the district's really good about reminding you when your background check is getting to be expired. So once you do it once, Judy Steinhauer will just monitor that and let you know when your background check is expiring. This goes too for if you have children that are over the age of 18, for example, if that, like Bradley, I know your daughter, if you and your daughter went with Mari and you went to dinner and for some reason your daughter was alone with Mari, even if you went to the bathroom, technically that is one-on-one with the student. So any type of interaction that you feel, we'd rather just pay the $7 than not get in trouble by Rotary International. So.
And one other thing, you maybe mentioned this and I missed it, but we might need help with transporting
Oh, no, I
Mari,
didn't.
like to club meetings or to tennis practice. I know, who did it ski? Clara did ski
Clara
down
did
at
ski.
Mount Lacrosse, and sometimes her host family needed help picking her up and bringing her home. So that's something too to consider. It's a small piece of your time, but just helping getting her to different things would be helpful. So those background checks are helpful, even if you don't have specific plans. Sometimes she gets in a bind and needs help getting transported. So,
And we will give her a cell phone when she gets here, so it'll have a local number. We'll make sure that number is published. And as far as her English goes, Larry and Missy's son spent a year in Japan on Rotary Youth Exchange. So John will hopefully help ease some of that transition for us since he's part of that first host family. So that'll be a good asset for us. All right, thank you.
thank you, Laura. All right, any other announcements? Yes, Marissa.
Okay, I totally forgot about this, but iFeed is coming back, you guys. For those of you that don't know what iFeed is, our Interact Kids, which is like the high school equivalent of Rotary, put on iFeed every year. It's a 2-part event. We pack food, like dry meal assembly line. And that food is going to be sent to Poland for the refugees from Ukraine. So that's exciting to be able to help them. And then all of the food drive, the non-perishable food drives, goes to Hunger Task Force to stock their shelf. It's one of the largest drives for Hunger Task Force. That is November 5th. If anybody is willing to help out, it's really one of the most rewarding events that I've been a part of. And we just got the go-ahead to proceed last week. So it's going to be full throttle from here. But if anybody has any interest in helping with this event, it's at Logan High School, Saturday, November 5th. Please see me because I'm sure we can find you a job. I know I can. So anyway, November 5th.
I'll say that is one of the most fun events that I think I've been part of as far as Rotary. Like walking in the gym where they're packing meals is like, gives you a rush. So it's super fun. I would find a way to be there. Yeah. So, any other announcements? Alrighty. Well, we have today's program, Bikers Against Child Abuse is here. So we have Scratch, Karma, and Lurch here to present for us. So welcome.
All right, thank you for having us. We appreciate it and the opportunity to be able to get out and speak to everyone and let everyone know what our mission is, who we are, what we do in the community. Everything that we do goes back to our mission statement. That is the core of what we do. And whenever we start looking at, well, maybe what about this and what about that? Is it part of our mission? Is it part of our mission statement? So for every meeting, every presentation, we start off by reading our mission statement. Bikers Against Child Abuse, B.A.C.A, exists with the intent to create a safer environment for abused children. We exist as a body of bikers to empower children to not feel afraid of the world in which they live. We stand ready to lend support to our wounded friends by involving them with an established united organization. We work in conjunction with local and state officials who are already in place to protect children. We desire to send a clear message to all involved with the abused child that this child is a part of our organization and that we are prepared to lend our physical and emotional support to them by affiliation and our physical presence. We stand at the ready to shield these children from further abuse. We do not condone the use of violence or physical force in any manner. However, if circumstances arise such that we're the only obstacle preventing a child from further abuse, we stand ready to be that obstacle. So that's us in a nutshell. We originally got started in 1995 by a licensed clinical play therapist. He would have kids come and do therapy with them and spend about an hour with them and see the progress, and then they go home. And then the next time they come back, it's like, well, they took one step forward in therapy and 2 steps back while they weren't here. So what can I do? What can we do? So as something for these kids outside of therapy, outside of their support structure, what can we do? As a child, he had a positive experience with bikers. So he called up the local hog chapter and said, hey, can you guys help me out, explain what you want to do? They said, sure, we can do that. So the local hog chapter rolls up to the child's house, takes them for a ride, goes a roundabout way, gets to their local hog chapter meeting. Kid sits there for the meeting, gets a couple stickers, tattoos, whatever. And then they go for another ride, roundabout way to get home. And that was the very first child ride of what later became B.A.C.A. After doing all the paperwork, getting incorporated everything else, we finally established in 1996 out of Provo, Utah. Since then, we have spread to 48 states and 19 countries. And that's just where we have full chapters. We have when a group decides they want to get started at B.A.C.A and there's no chapter in the area, they only contact us, reach out. And the first step for them is, well, come to a meeting. If someone wants to get involved in our local chapter, the first step is come to a meeting. Get to learn more about their organization. We can learn more about you. Is this something you really want to do? Is this something you have the time to make the commitment to? Because everyone wants to help abused children. Not everyone has the commitment for the time that we put into it. So you come to that first meeting, yeah, I think this is interesting. I think I want to keep going with this. So go to the second meeting. Yep, still interested. So we send you a packet of information, and it's more detailed about what the organization does and where we go. Also, a little bit more about the motorcycle community, the motorcycle culture, because it is its own distinct culture in the rest of society, even though we're out there with everyone else. I work at Fort McCoy. My wife works at the YWCA. We have delivery people, carpenters, masons, white collar, blue collar, everyone. It's just, you have a bike.
And what do you do? Scratch?
I work at a body shop.
So you come to the meeting and I still want to get involved. So some information, you read through it, have another conversation with you after that. And then your third meeting, you say, yep, I'm still interested. I'm ready to go. I can do this commitment. Okay, then we invite you to get fingerprinted. Every single person goes through an FBI background check. And then that gets renewed every 5 years if you're still part of the organization. So the conditions are, you have to be 18, pass the background check, and have access to a motorcycle. So we recently had someone come that, I don't have a motorcycle. I plan on getting one and learning how, but I really want to get involved with this. So we look at it, so we can help you out. Because Scratch doesn't have anyone that rides with him. He's got an open back seat. So we've got an actual agreement that they both fill out, that anytime we go somewhere that is related to the organization, she has that open back seat. She has a place to ride until she gets her own bike, until she learns how to ride it. So if you don't have a bike, we can work around that, as long as you're willing to make the commitment and do what it takes. For the people that are in an area where there isn't a chapter, after they start coming to meetings, we reach out to our chapter development. And they get them started. And there's actually a structured process that they go through for clear forming effort, and they get fingerprinted, and then they're level 1, level 2, and level 3, and there's different responsibilities, and the organization grows with each tier that you're through. Finally make it to through level 3, and then you get your back patch. So everyone that is a full member for local chapter joining in, it's at least 13 months. For a new chapter getting started, it's close to 2 years, sometimes longer, that you have made the commitment to do this, that you have gone through over 40 hours of training, that you have shown up for the kids. So you start out, you don't have your back patch once you clear your fingerprint check. You don't even interact with kids for the first 60 days because you're getting started on learning. You're getting the 101s of this is what we do and this is how you interact with the child, so you do not re-traumatize them. It's very important to us that we are there to help the kids. We want to be that 1 step forward, not the 2 steps back. So Carmen's going to get into a little more about how we do that for the kids.
So for our chapter, I serve as a child liaison. So every chapter across the globe has a child liaison. We all have a helpline, so we get calls on that. So what happens is we receive calls, sometimes social workers call, sometimes concerned family members call, but we need to get a call from the legal guardian. Sometimes that is the county. It could be a county social worker, but we can give the information and share what the process is. But we have to have permission from a legal guardian, whoever that may be. It could be a grandparent. I get information from them. I find out information about the children, their legal names, dates of birth, where they go to school, information about what the abuse, what has happened, if the case has been reported. For us to be able to take a case, I have to verify that the case was reported. It does not mean that the case was charged, because we know that that doesn't always happen when kids disclose because of their ages and what they're able to tell. It just has to have been told to someone in the system. And then the child has to be exhibiting fear, and that can look different. So we go through a fear checklist with the legal guardian. It could be checking the locks. It could be acting up at bedtime. It could be changed behaviors in social settings and different bedwetting, regressive behavior, acting out, all kinds of different things. And then once that information is collected, then I present it to our chapter executive board. I don't give the information about the children's names. I just say that we have potential new heroes. They live in this community, that I think it's an appropriate case, and then they vote yay or nay. And then if we take on the case, then we schedule an initial visit. In the initial visit, then goes myself, another board member, and our security officer, which could mean the 3 of us could go. So, because here's our security officer, another board member, and myself. And then we go and we explain B.A.C.A to the youth, and we talk to them. At that initial visit, what we do is we're all about empowering the youth, so they all get a cut. They all get, we use denim cuts. They all will get a tomato patch, not the same as this, but similar. They all get a rocker on the back. If you turn around there, says, "I will not live in fear." And they all get to pick out a back patch. So the back patch says empowered, and you can get it without flames or with flames. And then on the front is the tomato patch. And then they pick a road name, because for the rest of B.A.C.A, they're not going to be known by their given name. They're going to be known by the road name, so that they have confidentiality. We don't need to know. We just welcome them into B.A.C.A, and they're part of B.A.C.A, and we're there to help eliminate their fear and to just be there with them, right? And help them kind of address their fear. So they get to pick out their back patch, then they get to pick out a B.A.C.A, between a B.A.C.A blanket or a B.A.C.A backpack. And then they get to ask any questions. If at that meeting a youth would say that they didn't want to be part of B.A.C.A, then we wouldn't do it, even if the legal guardian wanted us to. We're not gonna do something just because the legal guardian wants to. The youth really needs to want that. They might be scared or nervous about looking at these weird folks that are in their space. I mean, some of us are, at first it's like, who are these people and those loud bikes outside, right? That might be kind of intimidating. But, and other times they hide behind their legal guardian's leg and they peek at us. And then when we come back, they do that a little bit and then you chase them all over the playground and down the slides and all over the place. It just depends. But so we do the initial visit, then we set up a day to do what we call level 1. And at the level 1 is when we will present them. I will meet the children at the initial visit and then I will recommend 2 of our members to be primaries. That will be their 2 points of contact in our chapter. Because Lurch and I are married, we will never be the 2 primaries to a child because we always have folks that are not in a relationship, dating any friends with benefit, whatever. No relationships, no relationships. I'm very, very much on top of that. So we could be primaries, they could be primaries. We could not, right? It's always about the safety and centering the safety of the heroes. And so we will give 2 primaries. The youth will get a magnet with the primary numbers on it that they can put on their fridge and also a card. Even if they're little, we give them each a card and we give the legal guardian a card. And then the 2 primaries will be the ones that give them their cuts and present them with their cuts. And then then we'll say, welcome to B.A.C.A, and we'll call them their name. Like, welcome to B.A.C.A, Tinkerbell. And then, we'll clap. And then they present them with their blankets and they present them with their, or backpacks. And then we do that for all of the heroes. And we always welcome in all the heroes, not just the youth that would be considered the primary victim, because all the children in the family are impacted by violence when it happens to one. It just might look different, but it impacts the whole family unit. And then each youth, each hero gets a bear. And what we do with this bear is we fill it with infinite hugs. And how we do that is we take this and everyone that's there gives it a hug, including our security. We always have security at our level 1. So we have 3 units that are at least 3 members doing security at a minimum at any level 1 that we're doing or any event like that. So, and then we present them with the bear and we tell them that whenever they're having, they need reassurance, they're missing B.A.C.A or their primaries, or they just need a hug, they can hug their bear and it has infinite hugs in it. So during COVID, we didn't do the hugs. We said it was just filled with hugs already, but we are back to doing hugs. So, and then they all get that. And then we also have some pins, our chapter. Other members have other pins on, but we have a blue ribbon with the Fighters Against Child Abuse pin. And we have this pin here, the Wisconsin state pin. And then we give a pin off the cut to the youth so that they can feel connected also to their primaries. And so we do that. And then the primaries set up a scheduled visit to return. And then the 2 visits they'll do that like 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. We have a scheduled time to do that. We do not want to become a crutch. We only want to help. If the youth are tall enough and can reach the pedals on the bikes, we can take them on a ride. And we have helmets, glasses, and those things provided. And we make sure the youth are dressed so that they could go on the back of the bike. And then we will take them for a ride during that level 1. If a youth has court coming up, hero would have a court hearing, we can go to the courthouse with them. Sometimes we meet them at their home and we escort them to the courthouse. And we can stay with them in the victim witness room and hang out with them and wait until they have to testify, or if they have to be on call in case they might have to testify, depending on how the hearing's going. And we stay with them the whole day. And then we escort them home. And we can also do what we call a level 2, and that's something unique about what we can do. If the abuser continues to drive by or is doing intimidation or those kind of things by the home, or showing up at the school, or just doing things to intimidate or to cause fear, we can do what is called a level 2, and we show up and we act as a physical barrier, and we can stand outside the home, and we can do a 24/7 response until that stops. And we can be there and we can call other folks to come. So you're looking at me, what did I not say? You're just listening? Okay. You're just enamored? Okay.
And now you're stepping up?
No, I'm just like, but that's kind of how we do. That's what we do. It's the helpline. Anyone can call it, even if you want to make a referral. When people call and they're not able to, we can't get involved because they're not the right person to call us. I walk through how, if they can call with the individual. If they're not able to do that, I give them the local number of who they can call, or give them other resources so they can get support. And it's really challenging and difficult when people really want to help, but it's not always able to happen. And just try to get them connected to other resources so that they can try to help the family, because they're calling from a good place. It's just that we can't get involved unless we have permission. And we do not get involved with youth who still have to, who live with their abuser and the non-abusing party, because that would just put them in a really unsafe situation, and we do not do that. Do you have anything to add? Scratch. I'm listening.
Not enough. As many as we can, but we know that there's more out there that we can help.
That's what we said, yeah.
Yes.
How can community members that don't ride a motorcycle help support your organization?
The second Saturday every November, we have a fundraiser, do a soup cook-off. I believe we're going to be at All Star Lanes again this year. So depending on who comes in to enter, if you make soup and you want to show off your soup, you're more than welcome to come and enter. Otherwise, just come and sample everything that's going on there.
Yeah, do you have like a Facebook page or something?
There will be an event page created when we get closer to the event.
All right.
That's our biggest, that's our main fundraiser. And then everyone in B.A.C.A is 100% volunteer, and that's how we get the cuts for the youth and pay for the patches and the teddy bears. And so, go ahead.
Like the support system, like are they pretty inviting and letting you come in to the court thing? Or like, what is your relationship with like the police? Like if they're intimidating or coming and going, do they work with you or they tell you like?
No, we notify it, especially if we're gonna do a level 2, we notify the police, because I mean, otherwise people are like, there's a whole bunch of bikers outside my neighborhood. And that's not what we're there for, right? We are not there to cause a ruckus. We're there to help eliminate fear. And then as far as courts, we have a court liaison position that one of our members is in, and then they contact. Some courts will let us go in and wear cuts. Some courts will let us go in what is called soft color, so I could just wear my t-shirt, or we can just we ask the hero what's their favorite color, and then we all wear a magenta shirt or something. And that's challenging sometimes, depending on the color.
For our local chapter, we've decided that we've
Yeah.
gone in and we've been told that, yeah, sure, no problem, wear your cuts, whatever. We get there and then the judge has no problem with it. His clerk has no problem with it. We get there and the DA goes, I don't think we should do that.
Mhm.
So then we all take them off. We leave them in whatever room that we've been hanging out with, if there's one courtroom. And so we've just decided that it's happened enough that for our chapter, we're just gonna find out what the favorite color is and we're all gonna come wearing that. And the last time we did it, it was blue and we had 12 different shades of blue on 15 different people.
Also, you don't, I mean, I don't know. We try to get there with the hero before everyone else is there. But if you're walking in and you know they're jury members walking in with you, you just want to be careful, right? We are not there to interfere with the justice process. We want to make sure, and we want to be a help, not a hindrance. So That's our philosophy, the best way to do it, because things do change and then the DA will come out and then want us to do something different. And not all of us go in. The primaries usually go in. And then if there's a lot of intimidation, a couple more might go in to block the line of sight, right? So that you can't just sit there and stare down a young person. But then, and some of our folks that go into the courtroom wear earplugs, because you don't need to know what's being said. You just need to be there to make eye contact and be like a safety check for the young person. So,
As an adult, you get up on the stand, you go to court, it's intimidating as an adult getting up there, you see everyone that's out there, the jury, they're all looking at you, the attorneys. Now imagine being, say, 12 or 14 getting up there, you've got those same faces, and not all, some of them are there to support you, some of them are very not friendly. But knowing that you have people there that are supporting you, that are just for you, makes a big difference.
And then when they do go and testify up on the stand, we've actually given like a little poker chip with the B.A.C.A logo on it, and they can hold that while they're up on the stand.
like a little worry, just kind of a fidget.
You had a question?
Yeah, what's the like geographic area that you guys cover within the local chapter?
So how,
Any distance between here and the next chapter.
yeah,
Where is the next chapter?
Depends on which direction we go. There's Madison, Stevens Point, Hudson, Rochester. So we tell them we want to be able to be there within 30 minutes. We want to have that. So if they give us if they call us up that, hey, this is going on, or we need you here, we want to be able to get there within 30 minutes. So we sit down at that additional, they said, you know, where you're a little outside of the range that we can get to, are you okay with it taking us a little longer to get to? Because we want to be here for you. We just need to make sure you understand it's going to take us a little longer because you're a little farther away. And almost always the answer is yes, we're okay with that.
but there's times when I sit down with Google Maps and figure out, so there was a time when it was Badger City and Northwoods and us, and we were all like 56, 57, 58, and literally you just go with the 56. But it can be that close. We did have a chapter that we had a primary from our chapter and a primary from Badger City, because where they live, not where the chapter is located, they both could get there within like 36, 37 minutes. And so then we did that case together, because it's, we don't really have territory, it's one B.A.C.A, but you do have to be in the chapter that's closest to you, but I mean, we all are doing the same thing and we all go by the same P&P and policies and everything. So we all operate under the same. So.
How many members are part of B.A.C.A in the area?
Oh, you're gonna get the same answer as the last one. Go ahead.
Sorry, she asked that.
No.
She asked how many kids we
She asked how many kids. What do you?
Oh, I was gonna say not enough.
Not enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're always looking for,
We have enough people to help the kids we have now, but we could always use more people.
We never lock into that.
Oh, members of, I think she meant of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is not enough.
We don't ever,
Oh,
we don't
okay.
ever lock in a number, which we just don't. Yeah, it's a.
Yes, at our last meeting, we had 2 new people show up.
Mhm.
At the meeting before that, we had someone say, with my work, this is just conflicting too much. I just can't make a commitment right now. So it's always changing.
Okay, then I have one more question. So then how do you differentiate yourself from other like biker groups in the area? So that like, are any of them helpful with what your mission is?
We have to.
Or, you know,
Yeah.
there's lots of biker groups
Yeah.
that.
Well, that's part of what works in our favor is the stigma with the biker organizations. So you hear about the outlaws and the other 1% clubs, and it's the whole image that goes with them. That's what works for us is the kid knows that we're there for them. For the child, we're a bunch of teddy bears. For anyone else, we're bikers. And if you look at the different organizations around, they all have different back patches. And they have, it's the colors. They're all different organizations. We have good relationships with all of them, especially with the dominant organization. Despite, we don't classify as a motorcycle club or a riders club or a rider group, but we're a biker organization. So we still have to get the blessing of the dominant biker organization in the area.
And we're actually a nonprofit. B.A.C.A is a nonprofit. We're a 501c3. That does make us different. And we do have to have their blessing. So depending on where you're located and who the dominant club is, they have to give your blessing to be able to wear our colors and to have a chapter in the area. Yeah, so. And so when we go to the clubhouse, we patch women in B.A.C.A. So when we go to the clubhouse, and just so you know, not that it matters, but I'm a diehard feminist, but when I go to the clubhouse, I have to go by the biker rules, so.
So like, do you work with you, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they work with us, they support us, they come to our soup cook-off, and they also make referrals to us, and they look out for us, so, and look out for our heroes, so, when they see them out and about, so it's really cool. But, yeah. And we have a biker liaison in our chapter, and we have a biker liaison at the state, and then up to international or continental, and then, yeah.
So we have to set up, we're one organization, or go wherever. For our level one, we send a message out to everyone in Wisconsin and Minnesota, maybe Iowa, if it's down that direction, so that everyone's aware and everyone can come together. Because we don't have borders, we're this organization, and whoever responds quickest. We still have to have some kind of structure though for figuring out what's going on. So we divide that up by states. And then each state is part of a different region, and then each region is part of a different continent, and then the continental goes to the international. So our region is Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Ontario, Canada.
Mm-hmm. And then we brought a study, there was a study done on the intervention of B.A.C.A and how it impacts children that are in B.A.C.A. And then we have our brochures, if you're interested, with the numbers and contacts for the chapters within the state. And, oh yeah, you're good.
How long do you typically work with a hero? Let's say that you get notified, they go through the court case and everything is settled. Obviously, there's still trauma that sits with that child for a lot of their years. Could they stay with B.A.C.A after the trial and all of that's done?
As long as they want.
Okay.
We have heroes that will come in, will go to court, and that'll be the last time we hear or see anything of them. We have ones that they will stay with us and they'll become members later when they get old enough. There's one rather large fellow down in Texas who gets teary-eyed every time he tells the story of how he was a primary to a child when that child got old enough, brought her boyfriend along because she thought he was about to propose and wanted to, pseudo dad, this is boyfriend, just to get him in there, figure out what's going on. And then after he proposed, she asked him to walk her down the aisle. So he's this tall, he's tatted, and he tears up every time he tells that story.
Yeah. No, we were on a plane once. There were quite a few of us. There's a conference that we go to, and we do a lot of training. And I work in the B.A.C.A field. I've done that for a long time. The training's really good. I've gone to a lot of training, but we're all on this plane, and there was an adult male on there in his cowboy hat. And it's like, oh, hey, and he was saying hi, and he took out of his pocket, he had a picture of him with his primaries when he was younger and showed it to us. So, I mean, it really does make an impact for the youth. It's pretty cool to see that this grown man is still carrying around the picture and to hear the story about walking down the aisle. And then when you see the heroes grow up and they become part of B.A.C.A and they want to do that, it's pretty awesome to see the turnaround.
As a primary, I've gotten more calls from kids because they're excited about something that happened in their day than they are nervous about what's happening in their life. There's always messages about, hey, users got a hearing coming up, we're kind of nervous about it, but three counties over, but we're still a little nervous about it. But at the same time, we'll get kid that'll call me up. I'll be in training at work. I'll step out in the hallway, and he just starts telling me all about the state and what he did at recess, and how they played games, and then how he had this test and he did really good, and he's just really excited about it. And so I'm trying to understand what he's actually saying. As he gets more and more excited as he goes on.
I wanted to go back to your question about how long we stay involved too. There has been one time since I've been involved with the local B.A.C.A that a hero came in at like the summer before 9th grade and stayed, and they were at TC. And they were, well, technically you age out at 18, but the court case took that long. And we still went to court with them. So we can still go to court if it takes that long for the court hearing to happen. And we can also, depending on other factors, if we stick around, cognitive ability, those kind of things. Those are things that we can go up the chain with to the child liaisons at the other levels. And
When we
then
say age out, we don't mean like foster care where you turn 18, you're have a nice life. Once you're a B.A.C.A child, you're always a B.A.C.A child.
yeah, but we do pull back when they're 18. So, and then we also invite them every year to a winter celebration and a summer celebration. All of our heroes, even if they don't need us anymore. We want them to not need us, right? Because then that means that they're doing better, but they can always come back and then we can reassess if it's appropriate for us to assign 2 primaries again.
It's always fun when we send out the invitation and then we get a return message that the family's moved to Florida or Colorado. So, you know, they're not even in the area anymore. It's so little comfort, they don't need us anymore. So that's great. You know, as good as we feel about helping them, we don't want to impose that on them. Once they're good enough, we want them to be able to step out on their own.
In your own personal experience, how are you able to balance work and personal and work, and how does that work for you in your lives?
Well, we talk about the organization and the commitment.
It's 7.
Yes.
Short and sweet.
There's you make a commitment that you'll be able to attend 80% of what we consider mandatory events. And really, it all depends on how many there are. It's the monthly meeting, it's our fundraiser. If we have a level 1, usually it's only 15 to 20 actual events per year that you have to go to, and it's a couple hours. If you're a primary, then you're getting more involved, it's more often. But when you're scheduling the visit with the child as a primary, you're working around calendars. So, okay, we're gonna set up a visit for 2 weeks from now, but the child has football or tennis or whatever, so they can't do it. So what about the next day? Well, I'm gonna be traveling for work. So you're working the 3 calendars together, the child's calendar, the 2 primaries calendars. You're working them all together to do dates that are functional for you. And so it's not just, okay, here's the date, you gotta drop everything to go.
And also you're always with your brothers and sisters or your theirsters. I add that in myself to be inclusive, but I mean, you're there and you have when you're doing a level 1 or when you're at court, you have other folks experiencing that with you. It's a little different at work. Sometimes you have to carry, I don't know, it's different. And then you get to get on the bike and you get to ride. That's a cool kind of therapy. So you just really get to process different. And you don't have to, I don't, just the whole connection with other folks. Because we've done some pretty hard stuff sometimes. And it's kind of nice to be able to do it with other people. Here's the study if anyone wants any of that.
I do.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, I just wanted to thank you on behalf of our club for coming. I think this was a meeting that a lot of us didn't know a lot of information about, and just the impact that you make in the community is really great. And we hope to see you at other events, and thanks for coming.
Yes, thank you for coming. Maybe when it gets closer and you have the details for the chili or the soup cook-off, you can get them to, I think, Steph, you were talking with her, and we can share it with the club. That might be a fun social or something for us to participate in together. So thank you. I know we're running over on time really quick, so If there's no other announcements or anything, we're gonna do the 4-way test. Or 5-way test. Nothing? All right, so in all of the things we think, say, and do.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Will it be fun? Woo!
And then we have another meeting again in 2 weeks. There's a slide. We're gonna have girl lacrosse. So that's okay. Thank you all.
Good job, Ashley. Good job.
Woo!